The music with WandaVision was unexpected. We in the writer's room, for each writer, I made them write their theme song, and then when they came to deliver the script, they had to sing it to the room.
Oh, wow.
Which was the best thing I've ever done. It was always like the fun, like it was the texture and the fun. But it took on a life of its own and was so special largely because of the Lopez's talent and what they put into it. So then approaching the Agatha series, it was a necessity that music be involved. And we ran at that so hard that the music became completely enmeshed with the narrative of Agatha. It is the through line of the show. And it was a very complicated task because plot and music were holding hands. But the Lopez's, I mean, if anyone can do it, it's Bobby and Kristen.
Jack, thank you so much for sharing your time with us today on the Movie Podcast. Right out the gate, I mean, August 23rd, talking to you on Wanda and Vision's anniversary, Hearts.
Oh my gosh,
today.
It's August 23rd.
It is. It's meant to be.
You are a fan.
100%.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Ugh, I feel that in my heart.
Right? It's meant to be today.
It's meant to be.
I literally have, like, when we go into our studio, we have like a big WandaVision poster, and it's like every day we walk in and we're like, oh, that was such a good time. What a series that was. And I guess, like, you know, right out the gate, like, that was the first Marvel Studios series that dropped. And I feel like every single week with that show was an event on the internet. So what was it like for you seeing all of that, and also like really seeing so many people coming together to watch it, especially in those earlier days of the pandemic?
I mean, that was a once in a lifetime scenario. Everything about it was unexpected. You know, we weren't supposed to be the first show out. It was supposed to be Falcon Winter Soldier. So that was a surprise. We went first. And the fact that there had been a year gap of Marvel stuff, the fact that everyone was trapped at home, including me and my family. I had COVID when it was dropping. Like, there were moments where I'm like, this is an episode of Black Mirror, and like none of this is really happening. I'm in some sort of underground bunker, and all of this is fake because it was so much fun. Like looking at the socials the morning after an episode drop. Nothing better.
Yeah, I think that was like one of the first shows that I ever like, I'm going to wake up at 3 a.m. to watch this because I want to know what's going to happen next. And seeing, I guess, you know, where we leave Agatha, was this always the plan? Like, where are we going to see her next in a series? Was this the next move for her?
We very deliberately left Agatha on ice at the end of WandaVision. There wasn't a plan at the time of how we would return to her or how we would deploy her later on, but it was the decision at the time to not take her off the board. And it seems really provocative, the idea of leaving her under a spell, because when we, you know, if and when we come back to her, she might potentially still be under that spell. And so that was like already, you know, in trying to design the Agatha show, I was like, we already have like such a fun jumping off point.
Yeah, and I think finding the identity of the show, and even like we've been loving the name changes leading up to it. Did you have like a favorite like name that was out there that was like floating around? Like, actually, like, we know this isn't going to be the name, but we like this name.
Well, I actually like I have my least favorite. My least favorite is is Coven of Chaos.
Okay.
Because it is like you could maybe believe it's real.
I did.
But it's like, but it's so bad that I'm like, I would never make a show called Agatha Coven of Chaos. So I was like, people are going to believe this one, but like the show is going to be a little more sophisticated than this.
Yeah.
So that was the one that like got under my skin a little bit, but it was our decision to do it. So I'm like, you did this to yourself, Schaeffer. Like, just wait until the next one comes out.
Just roll with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think like the lying witch, in the
with the great wardrobe.
With the great wardrobe.
Yeah.
That was
the idea, was like they would become increasingly ridiculous. Like Darkhold Diaries, also really silly.
Yeah.
So we're like, we'll do that, and then we'll have a final one that is absurd, to clarify that this was all Agatha shenanigans.
That's
and then
amazing.
we'll get into the real title.
And I love how much music played a role. Obviously in WandaVision, like that soundtrack and those songs from Chris and Robert, like they're still like ones that I'll go back to. How did music help you formulate this show? It's still a huge part of this. You know, we were lucky to be at D23, and to see everybody come out on stage and perform was amazing. So like, how did music help you shape what this show is going to be?
The music with WandaVision was unexpected. We in the writer's room, for each writer, I made them write their theme song, and then when they came to deliver the script, they had to sing it to the room.
Oh, wow.
Which was the best thing I've ever done. And it was so fun. And then, of course, then it was the handoff of what our intention was, and then the Lopez's, made it real. But it was always like the fun, like it was the texture and the fun. But it took on a life of its own and was so special, largely because of the Lopez's talent and what they put into it. So then approaching the Agatha series, it was a necessity that music be involved. And we ran at that so hard that the music became completely enmeshed with the narrative of Agatha. It is the through line of the show. And it was a very complicated task because plot and music were holding hands. But the Lopez's, I mean, if anyone can do it, it's Bobby and Kristen.
Yeah, they're incredible. And to see what we've gone so far in the show is amazing. And I love how, like, with WandaVision and this and where this show starts, it really feels like this is a team that loves television, loves the history of television. What were those shows for you growing up that you wish that you could kind of live your life through the filter of? They're like, I wish I could be part of this family or this
family,
world.
this world. I mean, is it totally psycho if I say Lost?
It's a choice for sure. But...
I mean, I think I was as a kid and a young teenager, I was really into dystopian stories.
Yeah.
I've always been really fascinated by when an ensemble is put in a situation where they're sort of stripped of everything, and that's a little bit what happens in Agatha All Along as well. But so I think the lost story of the mystery of the island and like the survival story and all those characters. I mean, I don't think I'd really want to be on the island with them, but it's the world that is most intriguing to me. I guess I think if I were taking the question totally seriously, I would say the Love Boat.
Sure, that's a good world to be in for sure. Yeah, and when you get to direct this time around too.
Yeah.
The first 2 episodes, like, what was that like for you being, in the director's chair, being like the Agatha watching like everything behind the scenes this time around?
It was fantastic. It was, the culmination of a dream. I felt so lucky to be able to do that this time, but it felt very natural. I mean, I have mostly directed my own writing, and I am a very visual writer. Like I don't know if I'd ever be able to write like a novel. Like I write how I see the edit, essentially.
Yeah.
And so, it felt great. And then working with someone like Kathryn is extraordinary because she gives so fully of herself and she's so interested in the collaboration.
Yeah.
And so we just, especially with the pilot, just like synced up, and it was spectacular.
I love that. Last question, have to ask you, of course, like Wanda, big question mark. We're hearing mentions of her. People want to know when's Mother coming home. When hopefully are we seeing her? Are there plans? Are those talks happening, or is it still? We'll see what happens.
So I can only speak to this show, to Agatha All Along, and what I will say about that is that she casts a big shadow. We are in the corner of the MCU sandbox where her storyline and other storylines involved with her sort of intersect. But this is very much Agatha's show. And as Kathryn said when we first sort of joined hands to start the process on the show, if Agatha's doing a spinoff, she's only going to do an exceptional spinoff,
yeah.
and it is Agatha every day, all day.
Amazing. I cannot wait to see where the show goes. From what I've seen, it's the most fun I've had watching a show this year. So I'm so excited to see where it goes. And thank you so much. We've been wanting to talk to you for so long. So this is amazing. Thank you.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I'm so, I very much hope that WandaVision fans feel excited and satisfied by this show. So I'm excited to hear that you're excited.